Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla and for today's video, I'm giving a finance update for January 2025. This is probably something that I say for every January update that I've ever filmed, but January always feels the same. Like it goes super fast, but it also feels really long. Like when I think of something that happened earlier in January, I'm like, that was January? That felt like 3 years ago, you know? We're already about 10% of the way through the year. I hope you had an amazing month and happy February. I'm gonna be talking about all my finances for January, include exactly where I spent my money. I'm gonna go through my goals first, so we'll talk about that first. I'm gonna give you updates on my savings balances, my investment balances, and then my net worth, and the progress on the goals that I set for the whole year. I'm gonna start with the goals that I set for January. The first goal was to stay within budget. I did not reach this goal. You'll actually see quite a bit of red in my budget, meaning I overspent money in a number of categories. I'll explain everything as I go, but I did not do any personal spending. So that's a positive. I didn't buy any clothes or shoes, things like that. I feel like everything was kind of justifiable, I would say, but I'll explain as I go through my actual spending. But overall, I did not achieve this goal. I did have in mind the whole month, like just the essentials January. I was, thinking of that when I was going grocery shopping and things like that. But toward the end of January, for example, when it came to groceries, all I had left in my grocery budget was like $16. And I'm like, this is just, it's not realistic for me to only spend $16. Like, sure, I could just get some beans and, some frozen veggies and make it work. But the way that I eat food, it doesn't work like that. Like I also think of my health and, I have Crohn's disease, so I eat a certain way, eat certain foods. I know it sounds like I'm making excuses for myself, and maybe I am. I definitely could have done better. Like I was saying, I did have that just the essentials January in the back of my mind, but I often was like, it's fine. Like, I'm not gonna stress about this as long as I'm not doing anything crazy or super unnecessary, then I'm not gonna, stress about it. So I'll go through those numbers in just a bit. The second goal that I set was to generate enough money in January to be paid out over $8,000 in February. I also did not achieve this goal as far as like the money that I generated in January will not equate to $8,000 in February. Oftentimes with money that's generated online, you're paid out like within 30 days or within 60 days. So the money that I make from YouTube in January is what I get paid in February. And yeah, that's nowhere close to 8,000. So, but that's okay. I feel really good about everything right now. I've been listening to an audiobook in the morning and during my drives and stuff that's really just uplifting and making me feel better about things. And I'm somebody who I feel like I do need to be surrounded by positive thoughts and positive energy because honestly, positive thoughts don't come to me naturally. Like I would say, more pessimistic than optimistic. And throughout this journey and even just like my whole life, I feel like I've dealt with a lot of self-doubt. I don't really let that hold me back from anything, but just naturally having those thoughts will hold you back, like I'm always going to take action and do what I can, but I know that the way that I think doesn't serve me. So by listening to that audiobook, it's called Money and the Law of Attraction by Esther Hicks and Jerry Hicks. So I know some people are weird about the law of attraction, but I think having that positivity fed to me on a regular basis does absolutely help and just makes me feel in more of a flow state, I suppose. Whereas before, it's like I'm thinking these negative thoughts that are causing me to procrastinate or overthink things. And then for my book club this month, we are reading The Magic of Thinking Big, which I've listened to this on audio and I have read a bit of this book in the past as well, but it is such a good book, like one of my favorites, and rereading that has been I just love it so much. Highly recommend. And if you're interested in my nonfiction book club, you can sign up in my description box. That we're meeting February 23rd. I think it's a Sunday, the last Sunday of February. So I did not hit my goals, but that's okay. I'm feeling pretty good about just things in general. So now we can go ahead and hop to my spreadsheets and we'll talk about my spending for the month. If you're interested in these spreadsheets, these are on Google Sheets and you can actually get them for free. I will have that link down below. You will need to put your name and your email, but then you get free access to this. There's a couple of extra things on here. You're seeing these two other tables off to the right. I will explain that as I go through things. And I do have quite a few new subscribers, so thank you so much for being here. And if you don't know, I am self-employed and I am an S corporation, so I am the employer, but also the employee of my business. So this topic top section here is for the business side of things, and then down here, this is the personal side of things, or me as the employee. So if it doesn't make sense, I will explain things as I go, and feel free to ask any questions. So first up, starting with the business side of things, gross business revenue, I expected at least $5,000, and I'm happy to say that I did make over $5,000. That was $5,411.48. Now, as of last month, I am no longer filming income report videos. I filmed those every single month for years, but they just don't perform well on my channel, so I decided to cut them out. However, I know many of y'all are still interested in the breakdown of my online income, so that's what this over here is for. So you can see a breakdown. This is sorted from smallest to largest. The typical money that I am making. So while I'm on this tab for the video, this will just stay up for the entirety of that so you can look through it. But I will call out that YouTube revenue because $3,147. That is the most I've ever made in a month from YouTube, which is super exciting. It was because of those interviews that I was doing at the Beltline. So that's very interesting, and yeah, I am gonna be making more of those videos. I might film one this weekend actually, so looking forward to that. But yeah, I've never made that much. I have made over 2,000 before in a month from YouTube, but this was very exciting for me, so I am hoping that that continues. I know that already, like for the month of January, I did not make that much, but still a pretty decent amount. And then coaching did slow down, but that's okay. Just kind of trusting the process right now. I feel good about things. So yeah, if you're interested in looking through that, that will stay up. Next is rollover business revenue. So I was expecting about $850. This is just money that is still in my business checking account left over from December. And that was actually $905.42. And then I did not pull from my business sinking fund. So altogether working with about $6,300. Payroll, I gave myself a raise in January, so that's $2,500. That is correct. My 401k match, I have a safe harbor plan, so I contribute as the employee 5%, but that's basically me matching 4%, so that's $100. Payroll taxes, that came to $273.76. I was expecting about $250, so a little bit more here. I really wasn't sure what to expect because of the change in pay, but yeah, that's fine. I can't really control that. Eventually this will lower a little bit because you have to pay unemployment tax for some time, and then once you hit a certain amount that falls off. So by like May or so, this should drop a little bit. Then for distribution, I was expecting $1,000. So distribution is just transferring money from my business checking account to my personal checking account, and I can use that money as needed. So I actually did a $2,000 distribution just because I had quite a bit that I needed to pay for in January that had rolled over from December. So this was like floating credit card debt that came in. And you know, I always pay off my credit cards before the statement date. I don't pay any interest or anything like that. But I realized that I had quite a bit that rolled over from December into January. And I was like, okay, in order to make all of this work and pay what I need to pay for the house and stuff, I'm gonna have to transfer more from my business checking account. Luckily, I was able to do that because of, you know, YouTube revenue and even like affiliates and sponsorships. So that all worked out. Not ideal because this can like mess with taxes, but I don't expect this to be like an ongoing thing. Business expenses, I budgeted $300, but that actually was a little bit more, $381.05. This ended up being more because I did have to order stickers. Oh, the other thing that happened is my email subscribers went up like quite a bit. So I had to upgrade my plan. Before I had a free plan, and then I no longer would have been able to keep that free plan because of how many people subscribe to my email newsletter. So that's super exciting. I have an email coming out this Friday. It's always on the first Friday of the month. So that link is always in my description box if you're interested in that. But yeah, I had to upgrade, and that was like $240 right there. So yeah, I just didn't expect those things. And then insurance, I budgeted $11.57, and that is correct. That just covers my dental insurance. I didn't have to pay health insurance in January because I prepaid it in November when I picked my plan. And then one thing that I added in here was a savings, so business sinking fund. Any direct support that I receive, which you can see Buy Me a Coffee came to $113. Any direct support that I receive, I'm putting toward my business sinking fund so that I can prepare for my biannual giveaway. I do a $1,000 giveaway 2 times per year, and I just want to make sure I'm all set for that. So that was $105 total. I actually received some support earlier in the month, but I ended up investing that I put it toward my Roth IRA. But then later in the month, I received this $105 that came from Sina and Eric. So shout out to y'all again. I put this in a community post because I'm no longer filming Transfer Tuesdays. So yeah, I did go ahead and put the $105 to my business sinking fund. And the reason that this says 113, and I mentioned I got like 15 early in the month plus the 100 from Sina, 5 from Eric. I can't actually cash out that 5 from Eric through Buy Me a Coffee because you have to reach, I think, like $10 in order to actually cash out. So I didn't receive that money yet, but I did transfer it. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's everything on the business side of things. Altogether spent $5,371.38. So overall, I was in the positive, and I'm trying to grow this number so that I have a lot more left over in that business checking account, but it's just gonna take some time. Now let's move on to the employee side of things. So my paychecks, this is from the payroll. I received those paychecks, and these are my gross earnings, $2,500. The distribution I took was $2,000. Extra income came to $791.68. And again, I'm not filming that income report. So over here is that extra income breakdown. Now you will see that I made money from my high yield savings account interest. That's $116. That money just stays in those savings accounts, my sinking funds, my emergency fund. It's not accounted for as spending over here. So that's one thing to call out. And then shout out to those of y'all who used my Discover referral link. I appreciate you so much. That actually helped tremendously because I ended up just using that card. Because with Discover, you get a statement credit. So I had like a negative $200 something credit like on my credit card. So I was like, I need to spend this money. So that really helped because I was just able to use that card and not have to worry about like making any sort of payment. It was just adding on to it. And then I had $300 worth of Chase checking referrals come through. So thank you so much to those of you who use that link. I really, really appreciate it. It does help out tremendously. I love extra income. Otherwise it was cash back. So yeah, thank you so much to whoever used my link. I always have everything linked down below in my description box. And then I did not pull from my sinking fund, so altogether was working with about $5,291. So let's look at my expenses. First up is taxes. I budgeted about $375 because I wasn't exactly sure what that would look like. That was actually much higher, $466.50. These are just taxes that I pay on my paychecks. Next is my 401k. I contribute 5% as of right now, so that was $125. My Roth IRA, I really, really wanted to contribute at least $500. I actually really just wanted to pull from my emergency fund and just completely max out my Roth IRA. I filmed a video about this, the casual money chat. I talked about the FOMO feeling around that. And honestly, I'm still feeling it. Like I literally, every single day, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So I'm still on the fence about that. Don't be surprised if I do end up doing that because I don't know, I'm just thinking about it so much that it's bothering me. Yeah, it's just a daily basis thing. Okay, anyways, I really wanted to do at least 500. This would have been possible if I didn't have that like credit card float. Unfortunately, I only contributed 15 so far to my Roth IRA. So definitely behind here because I want to max it out for the year. And I know I have until next April, but yeah, I just would rather do it sooner rather than later. So don't be surprised if I end up making that transfer. We'll see. Try to talk me out of it, please. There's some people who like make me really want to, you know? They're like, I would just do it, or this is it. But yeah, if y'all could talk me out of it, that'd be great. Okay. My brokerage account, I budgeted $0. That's correct. I didn't add anything to that. My emergency fund, I did not add anything aside from what I gained in the of interest, which I'll talk about in a bit. My gift sinking fund, I did not add to. Car/car maintenance sinking fund, I did not add to, but I did add to my car insurance sinking fund $125 because it's basically a non-negotiable at this point since I pay it every 6 months. Donate, I budgeted $0, but I actually ended up donating $100. So if you follow my lifestyle channel, Living Like Layla, I shared that I found a mama cat and her 4 kittens. They were outside on like one of the coldest days here. It was awful. It was so, so sad. I was not about to leave her out there. Like they would have died for sure. The kittens would have died. She may have been dumped. I'm not really sure. But the woman who helped me is like, I had the cats here for 4 days, 5 days or so. And then this woman who's like a huge, like she's basically the cat lady of the county. I found her through Nextdoor back in the summer for other kittens like in the neighborhood. So she helped out so much. She came and like got me cat litter, cat food, blankets, a hot pad, all of these things that I did not have. And then she did take the cats off of my hand. They're now under a rescue and in foster. So she like came through and I was like, what is your Venmo? So I will have her Venmo in my description box if you are interested in helping her out, because she has helped with so many cats. She likes trap, neuter, release, so spaying and neutering these cats so we can stop the, you know, whole litter problem of cats and even dogs. So yeah, I was just very grateful for her for helping out, because I would not have been able to keep the cats here. And I don't know what I would have done otherwise. So that's what that was for. Next is house/utilities. I budgeted $1,144.50. This covers my portion of the mortgage and then half of our utilities and our HOA. This ended up being a little bit more, I think, because of, I think the water bill was higher than expected. So that came to $1,159, which, yeah, that's fine. Then for household, I budgeted $40, and this is where, so these things I can't really like control going over budget on, you know, aside, like, I didn't have to donate that, but yeah, this is where things start going in the red. Household budgeted $40, actually spent $79.02. I did buy laundry detergent. I got some wrapping paper because I was going to a birthday party. Bought some tissues. I did buy 2 things off of Facebook Marketplace, a plant stand and then a mirror. So those were definitely unnecessary, but it was like good things that I wanted for the house and pretty good prices. So over budget by $39.02, but I'm not mad at those purchases. Next are groceries. I budgeted $300, ended up being $385.43, and I put a note here that this includes a large coffee order, like enough coffee for a good 4 to 6 months. And honestly, that's what put me over budget, because that was $88.77, I think it was. Yes, that's the one. So if I didn't buy that coffee, I would have been in budget. So that makes me feel better. I did not want to go over budget. I feel like I did pretty good in general, like at least it wasn't over 400, but really it was for the coffee. And I didn't realize that I even needed to buy coffee, but luckily it was on sale. I purchased from Grounds and Hounds, by the way. They donate to animal rescues, and it's such good coffee. I buy the whole beans. I have a coffee grinder, a bean grinder, whatever, and it's just the best. You really can't go wrong with any of their coffees. I prefer the non-flavored ones though, if anybody cares. And then food out, I budgeted $0. Happy to say that I did not go out to eat at all in January, so that was really good. Gas for my car, I budgeted $75. I did go twice, but that came to $63.48, so a little bit under budget there. And then health and beauty, I budgeted $360. This was higher. Oh, not too bad. I spent $364.53, so I did end up, y'all know that I pay for the Ladders app. It's an app for workouts, so I follow Kelly Matthews' program and I love it so much. So I was paying for that monthly, which costs $30, but if you switch to the annual, it's like comes to $15 per month. So paid for that in one chunk. I did get my massage, I bought some toothpaste, I had to pay for a prescription, and then got a couple of vitamins. So not too bad overall, over budget by $4.53. Next are dogs. I budgeted $240. This is for the dogs that my sister and I adopted together, and they live with her. So I sent her $180 plus my foster dog. That came to $299.40. So I did end up buying food for my foster dog. And then, oh, I bought her a supplement as well, which I didn't make note of. I did buy food for the cat that I found. That was like $10. So really the main thing that put me over budget here was buying that supplement for my foster dog. And it's worth it to me because I feel like it's been helping her. So over budget by $59.40. Netflix, $23.48 is correct. My rate is increasing for February, but was still the same in January. Gym membership is $39.99. Chase Sapphire preferred fee, that is $95. That is correct. I've had it for a year now. And then there were 2 things on here that I did not budget for and I spent money on. So first up would be gifts. So I ended up buying my boyfriend some clothes. I saw something that I knew he would like I thought it was so cool. So I was like, I'm gonna buy that. And I was gonna save this. We've been like swapping, we started doing 1 date night per month and swapping off like who hosts it. So he did January and I'm doing February. So I was gonna wait to give it to him then, but I was like, let me I did just go ahead and give it to him in January because in case I needed to exchange anything, which I'm glad I did because we did end up exchanging things because it was the wrong size. So altogether, I spent $119.04 on, it was just clothes for him. I did not pull from my gift sinking fund to cover this. I just cash flowed it. I think it's fun to give gifts sometimes. Plus we don't really do like Christmas or anything like that. Nothing crazy for birthdays or anniversaries, that type of thing. So I really don't mind buying for him. Next up, final thing here, I just completely forgot about it, but I should have budgeted for it. That would be renter's insurance. So I live here. I'm not really like officially renting it. This is my boyfriend's house, but I pay for, you know, what you saw up here. But I still have renter's insurance just to protect my things in case, like I'm still covered under the insurance he has, but yeah, just double the protection. And that is $144.91 for the full year. So yeah, I just completely forgot about that, and that's fine. So altogether, I spent $3,604.78. This income minus expenses is a bit misleading because, like I was saying, I had some of that credit card float that I needed to pay down. So I did not have that much left over at the end of the month, that's for sure. It's never 100% accurate just because the way I plug things in. And this number is correct. I checked it. Somebody called out last time that the number was wrong. It's kind of crazy to me that... Anyways, yeah, so that is correct. I am over budget overall, which I did not want to happen, but that's okay. I feel like I still had a good month, at least income-wise and extra income-wise. So that is everything for my spending. So now we can take a look at my savings balances as well as my investments. I always record these numbers on the final day of the month. As far as my savings go, these are my various sinking funds. They are all in Marcus by Goldman Sachs. Yes, they are all separate accounts within there. They allow you to do that. They're all earning the same interest, and these are the final balances after the interest came through on the last day of the month. First up are my taxes. I didn't add anything there. That's at $44.02. My emergency fund, I didn't add anything to it aside from the interest that was gained. That's for all of these really, except for also I added to the car insurance fund. So that's at $13,681.76. Not too bad. My gift sinking fund is at $1,148.57. Travel sinking fund, $6,293.09. Car/car maintenance, $3,550.31. Car insurance, $270.81. Insurance savings, this is for a tax credit in case I have to pay it back because I have a tax credit for my health insurance from last year and this year. But I may have to pay that back. So we'll see, $2,559.20. And then my business sinking fund, I did add to that as well. Again, thank you to Sina and Eric for the 105. $1,037.77. Altogether, my savings are at $28,585.53. Looking pretty good there. I do want this to be over 30,000, you know? I think this year I said I wanted to get to like over 36K altogether, but I'm so tempted to pull money from my emergency fund to just max out my Roth IRA. Okay, anyways, now to my investments, which have been cleaned up quite a bit compared to last year. So I no longer have my SEP IRA. I rolled those funds into my 401k, my solo 401k. So you don't see that here. And then before I had like Coinbase, but I don't have any crypto as of now. So my Roth IRA is up 3.7%. It's at $40,780.26. In this comparison, I'm up 3.7% compared to last month, so December 2024. 401k is up 3.8%. That is at $42,210.69. And then my brokerage account is also up 2.2% at $10,971.45. If you're curious about what I'm invested in, just the other day, I posted a video explaining all of that, the growth that I've seen over the last 5 years, and yeah, my exact portfolio. So altogether, my investments, this is the most amount of money I've ever had in investments alone. This is why I'm really tempted to just max out my Roth IRA too, because if I put in that, I've put in the $15 already, but if I put in the 7K, I'll be at 100K invested. And it's like, I know the market could drop, it probably will. I don't, weird things are happening right now. Okay, but anyways, altogether, I'm up 3%, $93,962.40. So super exciting there. My goal for the year is to reach $105,000 or more just in investments, but I'm excited to hit that 6-figure mark. So altogether, you can see that my assets come to $122,547.93, but that is not my net worth because I do have to add in my checking balance. So we're coming down to the yellow section. This does show my net worth. I add in the balance in my business checking account plus my personal checking account, minus any money that I may owe on a credit card, which I think it was only like $300 that rolled over into February. And then you can see here that I do not include my taxes savings just because that money is like, it's technically not mine. There's not much anyway. And then I do not count the value of my car. And that's just personal preference. So you can see that my net worth is $124,197.92. That is the highest my net worth has ever been. My goal for Q1 is to reach 125K, so pretty close to that, and hopefully I can see that growth in February and March. But yeah, like I was just saying, I know that things are kind of weird in the US right now, so this may drop quite a bit, and that's okay. But for now, I'm gonna celebrate this number because it's very exciting. So that's looking good. It's only the beginning of the year, so no fun chart really as far as, oh, that should say 2025. Let's fix that. So that's that for right now. And then I do have a chart from January 2021 until now. And this is really cool to see. So I've just continued to add to this, and you can see that, you know, there's not too many downs, but you can see just the fluctuations in my net worth. And in the past, I was in the negative. I do wish I had data that's older than this. I say this all the time because I was way further in the negatives. You know, I just did not keep track of my net worth. So if you're not already looking at your net worth, I highly recommend it, even if it's negative, because you'll see this one day and it's really, really cool. Final number here would be my Vantage score. That is at 813. And actually, I've noticed that my FICO score is actually much higher than my Vantage score. Like I was looking on my Citi account and even like Bank of America, and it shows my FICO score is 833, which is pretty cool. So that's doing well. It's not a number that I'm like too concerned about. I don't, you know, I open credit cards here and there, but I'm not going to be getting like a big loan or anything anytime soon. So yeah, just keeping an eye on it. All right, now the final tab for me to go through, my goal tracker. These are my goals for 2025. If you're interested in this spreadsheet, in this template, I have it available for purchase on my Etsy shop. That's linked down below. So first goal is to max out my Roth IRA. That's gonna take $7,000. In January, I only added that 15. So yeah, I'm very far away, $6,985. And we'll see what happens with that. Next up, I would like to reach a net worth of $150,000 or more. And y'all saw that my net worth jumped quite a bit. So that was an increase of $4,545.79 compared to last month. So now I am $25,802 or so away from hitting this goal. I would like to make $120,000 or more in gross business revenue. Even better if it's net, you know, but I'm fine with gross. Kind of behind on this, but January was a pretty decent month, $5,411.48. So quite a bit of work for me to do for the rest of the year. I need to make over $114,000 more. Next goal, I want to have $105,000 or more in investments alone. So at the beginning of the year, I was a little bit over $91,000. That increased by $2,766.01. So I'm about $11,000 away from hitting this goal. I would like to reach a $15,000 emergency fund. So I'm already pretty close to that just because I started at $13,625. I didn't add anything to this aside from the interest that grew in my high yield savings account. So that was $55.93 on top of that. So I am $1,318 away from hitting this goal. It's not a huge focus of mine. Like I'm cool with the 13,000. And if I hit 15 sooner than later, great. But yeah, it's fine if I drag this out until December. I did decide to add an extra income goal in here. I don't know if I even talked about this. It's not something that I mentioned in my money goals video. But yeah, it would be great for me to make $10,000 of extra income outside of my business. So this is from like credit card cashback, even the interest in my high yield savings account, things that I sell on, you know, Poshmark or Facebook Marketplace, bonuses when I open accounts, that sort of thing. So in January, that came to $791.68. I feel like this is just a good number to aim for because for the last few years, I have always made several thousand in extra income. and I made over 10,000 in 2024 from extra income, and it just helps tremendously. You know, like getting that extra little chunk of money is like, oh, now I can pay for this bill and not really worry about it, you know? So I just like the idea of multiple streams of income coming to me on top of my business. So, and then the final goal here is to spend less than $50,000 in the year. This is excluding like business expenses, excluding taxes, saving, investing, that type of thing. In January, I did really well. That came to $2,873.28. This has not been an issue in the past few years. I do typically spend well under $50,000 in the year, and that is good if I can, you know, maintain that for years and years and years, and then even into retirement. That means I can save more money, but also that's less money that I actually need in retirement. Though the more the better, I would say, you know. I feel like aside from my Roth IRA, I made some pretty decent progress on all of these. That's everything for me for the month of January. Happy to answer any questions if you have them, but feel free to comment down below any of the goals that you achieved, what your highest spend was, what your lowest spend was, if you did a no spend, anything that you want to share with your finances. I would love to hear it. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It really supports my channel, and I will see you in my next one.